provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify. Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify. Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify. Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify. Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify. Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify. Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify. Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify. Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify.
Well, good morning. The time being 9 a.m, I declare open the general meeting for the Gladstone Regional Council for the 1st of September 2020, and welcome spring. The first item on the agenda is apologies. We don't have apologies this morning, so we move to the next item on the agenda, which is messages of condolence. Councillors, any messages of condolence?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I have one. I'd like to have our condolences sent out to the family of Brian Lokes, who passed away on Saturday after a long battle with cancer. He was aged 79. Brian reached the pinnacle of fame in the speedway on the world circuit in the 60s, and recently lived in Benarabi. He was a friend of mine when I had the Caltex at Benarabi service station, and a neighbour there, but after a while they moved south, and we'd like to send our condolences out to his wife Angela and the rest of Brian's family children, Gavin, Angela and Ben. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Branthwaite, any other messages of condolences, councillors? I'll just briefly pass our message of condolence on to the family of Wally Ingra. Wally Ingra, and very well-known Indigenous leader in our community, obviously a Waka Waka man, will be taken back home to Waka Waka country, to Gayndah, in the next week or so. But obviously he's also married to Julie Ingra, Johnson, a member of the Garangarang family and the very extended family right across central Queensland. So condolences to the Johnsons and the Ingras in our Gladstone region this week. The next item on the agenda is the is the prior notifications of MPIs and conflicts of interest. Tanya, do we? Oh, we do have one. Councillor Trevor.
Thank you, Mayor. I advise that I have a perceived conflict of interest in agenda item G/3.2, revised risk management policy, as my law firm Chris Trevor and Associates may receive instructions from an employee of council regarding workplace injuries suffered in the course of their employment with Gladstone Regional Council, or from another member of the public with regards to public liability matters. I will leave the room for the consideration of and any voting in relation to agenda item G/3.2.
Thank you, Councillor Trevor. Any other notices of MPIs or conflicts of interest, please? No? Thank you, councillors. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is the Mayor's statement on current issues. Firstly, I'd like to draw your attention to an important cause, which is Are You OK Day, and that's coming up on Thursday, the 10th of September. So each year, Are You OK Day coincides with World Suicide Prevention Day. So I think it's very timely that we mention that at our council meeting today. And obviously, you don't have to wait till Thursday to ask a mate or a family member if they're okay. You probably should do that, particularly in these current times, as often as possible. So if anyone in our community is needing support or wants to find support, there's Lifeline, Beyond Blue, Men's Line Australia, Kids Helpline, Suicide Call, Back Service and Open Arms are just a few places they can go to seek help. Also, we have launched today we've launched a fresh round of our community investment program, so that is open today, and that is open until, I think it's the 30th of September, so community residents and sporting clubs, community groups in the Gladstone region have the month of September to apply. Some of the applications you can apply for is our Community Events Fund, which is up to $1,500. We've got our Impact event, which is for participants of 2,500 to 5,000 people, and that's $25,000. There's the Ignite event, which is up to $10,000, and of course there's the Destination event, where so groups can apply for up to $50,000. So that's obviously for the big significant events. So that's open now, and you can find more information about that on Council's website. On the 22nd of August, was a good day for the residents of Captain Creek with the first community meeting for the Rimla Rural Fire Brigade. So that was on the 22nd of August. We had representatives there, and of course QFES and the community have got together and re-established a brigade in the Captain Creek area, and officers have been appointed, which is fantastic news ahead of the upcoming fire season. So congratulations to the Captain Creek community for moving forward with that new brigade. Shortly around that same time, I think it was last Tuesday, Kerry Blackman, in partnership with Dr. Elizabeth Ford, launched this book, which is Colonisation Through Black Eyes, and I was pleased to be there at that launch, and it is a really good read, and a lot of these have been published, and I think one of every federal member of parliament now has a copy of these as well. So these will be in Gladstone Region libraries, they'll be in our art gallery, and they'll probably be going to local schools as well. It certainly tells the other side of the story of what happened 250 years ago, and in our Gladstone region since then. I commend that book to the Chamber. Thank you. Of course, Luminous. I don't know if I mentioned it last time because I think it was just after that last council meeting, but Luminous, our events team at the Gladstone Regional Council, our GECC team here have done a fantastic job, and they have taken out the Parks and Leisure Australia Queensland Major Event Award of the Year. So fantastic to see Luminous acknowledged for the fantastic event it was. Now, we would have had a Luminous this year, obviously, but COVID has put that to bed, but it will be back bigger and better next year, and it's great to see that our team are getting acknowledged for their hard work in putting that fantastic event together. And if you missed it, make sure you don't miss it next year. Speaking about our events team, we also have drive-in movies coming up, bit of an ad here, at the Kirkwood Shopping Centre on Friday, September 11 to Sunday, September 13, and they seem to be very popular. I think it's $10 per car for some of the matinees and $15 per car. So you can take the whole family there. You'll be very COVID safe in your own car. Macca's is next door, or wherever you like to make some snacks from home, and you'll certainly enjoy those movies there at the Kirkwood Shopping Centre and that vacant space there. We also have applications open today for the 2021 Mayor's Charity Ball. The Santos GL&G Mayor's Charity Ball will be held on May 22nd. So if you're a local community group or local charity that's seeking funds, we usually raise somewhere in the vicinity of about $100,000, and we usually split that between up to 3 or 4 local charities. So if you would like to be involved, I think we've given it over the years. We've given it to Scouts, we've given it to Zonta, we've given it to Rosebery. If your community group would like to be nominate for one of the beneficiaries for our Santos GL&G Mayor's Charity Ball for next year, that's open now. Jump on Council's website and apply there, and of course the committee will decide on who the final beneficiaries will be. One of them will be, of course, the Zonta Club of Gladstone, because they've been involved since day one, but we'll be looking for another 1 or 2 beneficiaries as well. I think that's almost what I wanted to say. Of course, we have Father's Day this Sunday, so to all the dads in the Gladstone region, all the granddads in the Gladstone region, say Happy Father's Day for Sunday. I think that's it for the Mayor's statement on current issues. Thank you, Councillors. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is a confirmation of the minutes of the 18th of August 2020. Have a mover, please. Thank you, Councillor Churchill. Seconded, Councillor Hanson. Is there any business arising? No business arising. Put the motion. All in favour? That's carried. The next item on the agenda is the Officers' Reports, G3.1, which is Campground Fee Waiver, Island Campgrounds. And over to the General Manager of Finance, Governance and Risk. Thanks, Mark.
Morning, Mayor and Councillors. This item is with respect to the consideration of the waiver of camping fees associated with island campgrounds. You'll be aware that as part of the implementation of the public health direction that was issued by the Chief Health Officer on 10th of July, that we temporarily closed a number of campgrounds across the region to ensure that we were putting in place appropriate COVID-safe plans. There was a number of these facilities that we did approach both the LGAQ, Queensland Health and the Disaster District about getting clarification whether they essentially applied to areas where there really was only essentially a public toilet that was maintained by council or its contractors, and that was really just the provision of the only facilities on site. We've have since received a determination through essentially the State Disaster Coordination Centre that essentially if the only shared facilities that are in place is that of essentially a public toilet that is regularly maintained and cleaned, then essentially on the proviso that they are free, then they are essentially do not need to comply with what is an approved COVID-safe plan. And essentially there is one there now, an approved COVID-safe plan for commercial operators, so commercial carrier parks. But in these cases, deemed free campgrounds, they don't need to comply with that direction. So our campgrounds have essentially reopened, and there is just the two on the islands, being at South End and facing Island, that we need to look at waiving the fees that we currently charge. So that is currently administered through GAPDL. Bookings are made through their website, and for which GAPDL currently under a management agreement receive essentially a 16% commission on that. So there's a couple of ways forward with respect to this that we could do to reopen these facilities, and the proposal we have before you is essentially to waive the camping fees that apply to island campgrounds. That was included in your budget documents with respect to fees and charges, and also then as the GAPDL were receiving essentially their reimbursement for their time and effort in this space by way of a percentage commission, that we authorise the CEO to negotiate essentially a booking management fee to replace that commission. Happy to take questions.
Questions, councillors? Councillor O'Grady?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just GAPDL, have they been approached about doing this, keep on going and doing the ordering system?
Yeah, we've approached GAPDL through the CEO just as to the continuation of the service, and I guess they've certainly expressed the desire to do that. We would just need to obviously look at changing it to a essentially a free service, but still administered through that booking service. Because they still obviously need to track who's there, but also know the numbers and the like. So part of that reporting that we will request coming back will be around visitations and the like. So we got that visibility.
Thank you, Councillor Goodluck.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mark, I'm supportive of the recommendation. I'm just wondering if you could clarify for me the directive from Queensland Health states that free campgrounds don't need to be operated under a COVID-safe plan. What's the intent there? Why is it? I'm just trying to understand why is it if we just waive the fees that all of a sudden we've got a get out of jail free card, so to speak, and I just want to be assured that we still have the, which I think I am, but that we've still got the necessary precautions in place.
We're still well on the way to making sure that we've got management practice in place that would have ensured that we were complying with the commercial code of practice. That was in respect to COVID, what was required from the COVID-safe perspective. The issues there were potentially around the manning and the contact tracing. That was really essentially the difference from our perspective for what is essentially these unmanned free camps. They're essentially unmanned facilities. The only shared facility was a public toilet. The determination that we've received from Queensland Health is that where the only shared facility is a public toilet, then provided that it is free, then you don't need to provide. So that's the direction we've received. It's an interpretation that we've received from Queensland Health because we're after, their interpretation, and that's what we've received through the State Disaster Coordination Centre.
And so are we still then going to try and get this COVID-safe plan?
Yep, so we've arranged, we'll put a management plan in place with respect to all these facilities. We'll be looking at how we regularly maintain those and also make sure that we've got signage in place that does all the contact tracing and the like. So via way of essentially QR codes will be put up and we'll be getting the, ensure that we've then fulfilling those obligations that are within the COVID safe plans. We're doing them essentially through technology and other means rather than actually requiring that on-site presence.
So it's basically just we've just got to cut some red tape and then we're good to go.
The difference would be the staffing costs. It would, arguably, we would need to be staffing these and also maintaining those public toilets and the like on a daily basis. The facilities will be regularly maintained in accordance with their current service levels in that space.
Thank you.
Councillor Branthwaite?
Yeah, just sort of clarifying, and probably for those that are listening, the likes of the South End and the Oaks, there's still a booking mechanism that needs to be done there because of and that's done through the GAPDL.
Yeah, so the booking mechanism will stay in place, and that will be through GAPDL. Essentially, the only thing that's changed is the essentially application of a fee, and then we'll obviously then reimburse GAPDL for their time.
Yep, good, thank you.
Mark, but we're also taking some other steps in terms of what are those codes?
QR codes.
QR codes and also signage and things like that as well. So it's not like we're just going to open them up slather. So you still do the bookings through GAPDL, and you'll also, if you're using the Calliope River one, there'll be a code to register where you're at. So it's going to be basically back on the community of Queensland visiting our campgrounds that are now going to be free to do the right thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, does the Flutter Creek one still apply with that, or you?
Gladstone Area Water Board. Oh, Flutter Creek, sorry, yeah. Flutter Creek's ours, yeah.
No, it'll be open as well?
It'll be open, yes.
Because I hear the Gladstone Area Water Board one isn't going to be open.
Yeah, Boyndale's not at the moment.
No.
They've said on recently that they won't be opening that, but they might
And
follow suit.
The same mechanisms will be in place at those facilities. So Flutter Creek, Calliope River, etc. We'll have the same consistent approach across the river.
So if people wanted to register, they just have to download a QR code reader on their mobile, do they?
Yeah, you generally got to put your phone up to the almost through your camera.
Yeah,
put your phone up.
download
to the
an
QR
app
code,
though, I think,
and
do you? Yeah.
I didn't need to
It'll
use an
open
app.
up through a website directly.
Once you download your first one, I think they're there forever. Use them anywhere.
Not all of
Thank
us
you.
do, Councillor Muscat. I've struggled the first time I had to use one of those, but Councillor O'Grady, thank you.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. So, as you're aware, the Queensland Government actually have got camping grounds of their own, and are they going to abide by this rule as well? Because one of the camping grounds, the one at Benarabi, has just been chock-a-block over the last month with visitors, but I went in there and I couldn't see any QR codes at all. So do they go by the same ruling?
They essentially haven't been required to essentially run by the same under the same plan and the same directive. So we got our legal advice, and we're saying, well, these free campgrounds that we do operate and the ones that we do charge, our camping grounds do actually fall underneath the definition of a camping ground in that space. Their argument is that they aren't camping grounds in those spaces, so that's and main roads aren't required to comply.
Yeah, so my biggest concern is they're at Benarabi for their 24 hours, then they go to Calliope River, and they actually get do their QR code and whatever else. So, but they've come from Benarabi where there's been a different mould of people. So, if some of those people go and do have COVID and go to Calliope, I think it's a little bit of double standard, actually.
The risk is Australia-wide with that, though. It's not just pockets like that. They could come, travellers could come from anywhere, really. And they are. You see the Victorian number plates.
Yeah, if they're Victorian, though, they would have had to go through quarantine or have been here before the lockdown, so we don't have to worry about that. Councillor Goodluck and then Councillor Churchill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I want to congratulate the team, Mark. I know this has been a a difficult issue, and you guys have worked through it and got to this point. And I'm supportive of the document. It's set out well. I've got to ask the question though. It seems like, you know, touch wood, we don't get any cases at any time in the future through our region of COVID. But hypothetically, say we were to get a case of COVID on one of these campsites, and then at a point in time in the future, the Queensland Health or whatever authorities look back and say, well, you only waived the fees so you got out of having to manage these campgrounds on a COVID safe plan. Is that, how confident, that's a risk to me. We're talking about risk appetite in an upcoming agenda item. How confident are we that we're absolutely 100% doing everything that we need to be doing?
Look, we've received our advice from Queensland Health on this basis, and we're acting on that. They're not releasing a separate industry plan or separate advice with respect to essentially free campgrounds or rest areas, etc. So we've had to run with the determination that we've got, and we've had to lobby to get through Queensland Health. So this has probably just been a very practical way that we've tried to go about, trying to open these facilities, make sure that we're encouraging that activity within the community. But yeah, also making sure we're responsible and managing our obligations in that space. So I think there's been a good balance struck there.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Matt. Councillor Goodluck asked one of the questions I was going to ask, so appropriately just make a comment. I think this is an innovative way to connect to our travelling and RV industry, and an opportunity to show some leadership in relation to the campgrounds. But I'd also like to think that perhaps our innovative way might be communicated with other groups, perhaps consistent with where Councillor Grady was coming from, to show that there is some ways of being able to work through this process, minimise the risk, and perhaps they could learn from our model in the Gladstone region. Because I know we were criticised for what we did, but we did what we had to do at that particular time. Now's the opportunity to show the leadership, and I think, and I congratulate whoever's put this together, you, Mark, and your people.
And also, can I acknowledge the efforts of our incident team, and particularly Mark Francis, our GM for customer experience, and his work in this space as well.
Thank you, Councillor Muscat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to, second the sentiment of being thankful to the team, and especially Mark Francis' team. These things are not simple. We're trying to balance, the livelihood of some of the people that work around tourism and those campgrounds. So, but at the same time, we need to understand the public health risks. So, I guess not things don't happen straight away, and we needed to be sure that what we were doing was the appropriate thing to do. So, I acknowledge there's been some frustrations maybe, but those frustrations were basically in order to make sure that we make the best decisions for our community's health, as well as the economic outcomes. So thank you for that.
May we hope and pray we don't have to close them in the future.
Very true. Do we have a mover for the officer's recommendation or an alternative? Thank you, Councillor Grady. Moved officer's recommendation. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Branthwaite. All in favour? Motion is carried. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is G3.2, Revised Risk Management Policy. Thank you, Councillor Trevor's leaving the room for a previously declared MPI. To the Manager of Governance, please. Thank you, Tanya.
Councillors, we've got before you revised risk management policy. So this policy has been up for review and been through an extensive consultation piece with respect to it. I'll let our Manager of Governance, Tanya Wally, take you through, I guess, the major components of that.
Good morning, councillors. I'm very pleased today to present the revised risk management policy. This marks a significant milestone in council's journey to a risk-aware culture. The revised risk management policy demonstrates Council's commitment to the development, implementation and continual improvement of a comprehensive enterprise-wide risk management framework. The proposed policy establishes principles that govern the risk management framework, Council's risk appetite and the governance of the risk management framework. The risk appetite within the proposed policy reflects Council's conservative approach to risk. Risk appetite referring to the amount of residual risk that an organisation is willing to pursue, retain or take in the pursuit of its objectives. The risk appetite within the proposed policy has been endorsed by the executive team, taking into account feedback from Council's Audit Risk and Improvement Committee. And of course, Council may wish to increase or decrease the appetite for risk in any of the risk categories. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, questions to the manager, please. Thank you. Councillor O'Grady.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just really like to commend Tanya and her team, and also Kerry, Stephen and Sandra. We got together and went through things, and it was just amazing what came out of it. So, and Tanya's really driven this, and so thank you so much, Tanya. It's been great to get to this side of the story.
Councillor Muscat.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions, but before that, I guess this was a long time coming, because reading the previous policy, it is pretty evident that it's not relevant to what I've seen in the last couple of years sitting around this table. So it's great. I love the fact that there's so much consultations being done from a lot of different stakeholders. And I have two questions. One is if we to review any of the risk appetite within these different areas, so does that mean that we have to review the policy?
Yes, so in the future, if Council would like to adjust it, yeah, that is a revision of the policy. But we have set a 12-month, we're looking at a 12-month review date for the policy and the associated corporate standard, understanding that we did receive a lot of feedback when putting together the policy, and it's kind of one of those things where we just have to see how it goes in putting it into practice.
Okay, thank you. And I know also that there's a number of documents that are obviously that come from this policy. So how close or far are we from having those completed?
The executive team has endorsed our corporate standard for the risk management framework corporate standard. That's of course subject to Council today adopting this policy. So that will come into effect almost immediately. There is a lot. This is just the start of our risk management journey. We have an implementation plan that we're developing at the moment, which will talk through how we actually bring this into reality for the business. So that will be developed over the next few weeks. But it will be quite an intensive program for 6 months. But then it's continual improvement building on that, because we have to make sure that it's integrated into all of our different business practices.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna, I guess, note too. There's a number of things that we're working on that we need to actually set the risk appetite for some of those things, like the investment decision framework and, well, a number of other things. And it'll be interesting to see how it all sort of fits together and how all these policies relate to each other.
Yeah, and I can confirm that we've been in close contact throughout the development of the policy and the associated corporate standard with Ericsson developing the IDF, with our safety team, with our audit team. So they're all, there has been quite a level of integration that's happened already, just not formalised yet.
Yeah, well, it was really great to see also the focus on people, not so much as, I guess the financial and legal consequences. The new policy talks about, I guess, the development of our staff and how to best I guess, have our organisation help them thrive. And there's also notes to innovation and opportunities, which none of that was in the old policy. So, and the last thing I've noted also that there's that's been a new software that we implementing to manage risks. I mean, I had a look at the I think it's Beacon. So they do a number of different software packages, and I just wanted to know, I mean, which ones, because I know there's a number of them.
Yeah, so one of our operational plan items is the implementation of Beacon. It's for a project we call it React. So it's actually across, essentially it's a consolidated view of not only management of risk, but it'll be all about our incidents, our safety, our management of our contractors, our management of our audit actions. And so it will do that individually for each of those items, but also allow that connected view across and have that dashboard view across all those.
Yep.
So all of our leaders can get an understanding of what are their obligations in each of those spaces, what risks do I have to manage, what safety investigations do I have, and also then enable that to grow. As Tanya rightly pointed out, this is just the start of the journey, and it's going to be a culture that we've got to just embed and improve. And certainly now that we actually have, hopefully, subject to your decision today, endorsement of a policy and then the associated corporate standard, we've now got the bones to enable the finalisation of that piece of software, which to me is just a tool. The biggest journey is getting people to engage with it and then engage with the policy and the corporate standard as to improving risk management and all those other practices across the business. So this is a foundational piece of work.
And I'm sure that we can bring Beacon, once it's been finalised, to a councillor information session to show council how it all fits.
Yeah, no, that'll be great, because I had a look last night, and there's a number of pieces to the whole of the Beacon, I guess, suite of programs, and I wasn't sure, whether we were using one or all of them or some. So you just said that, well, we even using it for contractor management, not just for incident management or different things, or just a basic risk assessment tool. So, no, that sounds great, and I'd love to have more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Goodluck, and then Councillor Churchill. Councillor. Yeah? A question?
Yeah, thanks, Mehmet. Just question and comment, or comment first. Exceptional piece of work, but it's taken a time for it to get here. But congratulations to everybody. It's wonderful, and perhaps for those that are listening in, there's nearly 100 pieces of responses that have come back, in relation to the process. So I understand you've had to go through a number of hoops and hurdles to get there. And you've mentioned twice already that this is only simply the start of the risk management journey. So we've got a long way to go, but I believe that, as I said there before, this is an exceptional piece of work. I actually wanted to make reference to one particular area, was number 37, that related to the issue that we have in local government land is the plethora of legislation that continually finds its way to our table in many different ways, shapes and forms. And even more recently, we've seen in the dark of night legislation put through that relates to the land of local government. But in your comment there, referencing the legislations or the various legislations that each and every one of us, not only elected members, but our staff, our personnel, our people in the community, have to deal with the constant change that occurs in relation to well-being, workplace health and safety, and the list goes on with the legislation. Your response to that was that the decision was made that you would only refer to the Local Government Act and regulations rather than each individual piece of legislation which requires us to manage risk. So I'd just like to get an understanding, or more so a clarification, because it's not only the Local Government Act and regulations, but there may have been a reason why the executive team made that decision, because, as I said at the beginning, there's a plethora of legislation that is continually imposed, devolved or delegated to local government land, and when some of these changes come through, the impact that might be relevant to our risk management appetite or our risk management policy, I wouldn't like to think that the policy is continually coming back here each time that there's a change in legislation. So if you could just explain that to me, I'd be comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill. So the comment, the way we looked at that was if we did refer to every piece of legislation, it would dominate the policy and the corporate standard. So the reason why we've referred to the Local Government Act is because it establishes that local governments must manage their risk in a number of different areas, and that's the principle why we have, you know, our policy and our corporate standard. In terms of managing obligations and risks that arise from other pieces of legislation, we are looking into how we do that better, and we are looking at developing a database that establishes each of those obligations that are quite easy to use. As a business, we do manage our statutory delegations, and that is indicative of a lot of obligations we have under a number of pieces of legislation, but we're just looking on improving that.
Okay, thank you for that. So we just get it on record that you're actually going to create that database, and are you going to create, is that database already in place or is it work in progress? And will that be part of the 12-month review? Because you indicated earlier in your response to other questions that there would be a review of the policy in 12 months' time.
So we already manage a database of all of our delegations and our obligations under the Acts. I guess it was probably recognised that to reference each of those, and particularly where there's a cross-reference with respect to risk, would probably make this policy and then indeed outworking it just unwieldy. Yeah, so we've still got that, absolutely, but this really is just about setting that overarching framework from which we'll operate.
Lovely, thanks for that.
Sir?
If I may, Mr Mayor, just quickly, Councillor Churchill, what we're looking at is making it easier for our people to access that information. I couldn't tell you how many delegations I've got. There's lots of them, and just to be able to quickly and easily search. So we have the information, it's just trying to put it in a more user-friendly format. So.
Are you still happy to second? Yep, thank you. So I move Councillor Goodluck, second to Councillor Churchill. Any further discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? That's carried. We could have Councillor Trevor back. That would be great. Thanks. Thank you, Councillor Trevor. The next item on the agenda is G3.3, which is the Central Queensland Regional Organisation of Councils Incorporation. I'll hand to the CEO.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, as you're aware, CQ Rock has been operating since CQLGA was wound up in 2013 as a non-legal entity, as an association of councils working together for the benefit of the region. Steps have been taken recently to constitute through a legal entity as a corporation limited by guarantee. So this report here today is seeking Council's resolution for a number of administrative resolutions that are required to create the beneficial enterprise, and also to resolve delegates and directors of council to the group. I'll take the report as read, but interesting to note that Rockhampton has indicated they're looking to rejoin CQ Rock, and that's been accepted and supported by the membership. So I think that is a positive in terms of having all of the members back in the fold. And also Resolution 3, they're looking to appoint directors as well as delegates. Council in recent years has had the Mayor and Deputy Mayor as the representatives of Council, and CEOs also involved, obviously. So that has been the practice, and I believe that's the direction that most of the member councils are heading, but that's totally at the discretion of the boardroom as to how you would like to resolve that. Just wanted to flag as well, it is written in there, the entity is considering the employment of a secretariat at some stage, so there will be some resourcing implication there, some financial contributions required, but there is nothing firmed up at this point in time, so it's a minimal financial contribution for establishment at this stage. Mr Mayor, I don't know if there's anything you would like to add.
No, I think it should continue to be Mayor and Deputy Mayor, but obviously we need to, in previous years, because it was different, we could just appoint a councillor if one of the Mayor or Deputy Mayor couldn't attend, just to attend in our space, but it has to be formalised now, so we'll have to appoint 2 alternative councillors, and that will be the proxies. So instead of just saying, oh, well, I can't make it this meeting, Councillor Branthwaite, could you go, please? It will have to be whoever we decide the other two councillors are. Is that correct? See?
Sorry, just to confirm, so that the first resolution is just to enter into the beneficial enterprise. The second one, the Constitution, was attached to the report, so that's just endorsing the Constitution. Now, the third one, so it is a little bit complicated, but 3A and 3B, so each member council will have a director on the company. So the first resolution there is for the primary director, so most councils are resolving the mayor as the primary director, and the alternate director, again, at council's discretion, but most other councils are going with the deputy mayor. So if the mayor was our primary director, he was unable to attend the meeting, then the deputy mayor is the alternative director in that scenario. And point C, this is about delegates. So you can appoint 3 people to be delegates, but only 2 can represent council at any meeting. So I'm getting confirmation of that, but my understanding is it means 2 of those people can vote and 1 won't be able to vote. So.
Yeah, I'll jump in. So, point C.
Yes.
Are they?
Delegates.
They're 2 different councillors to the mayor and
same
deputy.
councillors.
Oh,
it's
okay,
a bit
sorry.
confusing.
Sorry,
Yeah, it is a bit confusing.
I thought we need. So
No,
if I can't
apologies.
attend, so if I
Yes.
can't attend and the deputy can't attend, do we have no representative?
Well, maybe if the CEO can attend, you would have a representative. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Well, the way then, if that's the case, then the way this I believe should be worded for to save it coming back, instead of having my name and then Khan's name and then your name, Lisa, it should say appoint the mayor as the primary delegate, the deputy mayor as an alternate delegate, and then C would be mayor, deputy mayor and CEO, and therefore it extends beyond this council.
Yes. Yeah, great, mate.
Would that be appropriate, Tanya? I think that's how it should read. Sorry, Councillor Muscat, did you have a question?
Sorry, I'm just...
Sorry, Tanya, yes?
My only question would be, and Bernie gave me legal advice on this, is if you need to have an individual identified rather than a position, but I'm not sure under corporations law.
I think it will be okay because the
Yeah.
mayor at this point in time
Yes.
is yourself and the deputy mayor is Councillor Goodluck.
Okay.
Would I be correct in saying that you will have to register as a director under your own name, your own address? So if you weren't available, it wouldn't be another person actually being able to represent you as a director. Maybe as a delegate with a proxy, but not necessarily as a director.
Just mean in perpetuity. So this CQ Rock has obviously been going over, well, changed its name, but over 100 years technically from CQLGA to CQ Rock. It'll continue to go for another 100 years, I'm sure. Working with our neighbours makes sense. For a future council, I'm happy to put my name, Councillor Goodluck's name and CEO, but I think it'll just come back at some point for another resolution, so does that...
I don't think that there'll be a problem with that. We can always bring it back if there is. So happy to resolve that way if you so wish. But it is an important point that Councillor Muscat has raised, and it is included there in the report. Directors will have a duty of care under the Corporations Act, so it is a responsibility to be a director on a company limited by guarantee. So just to make sure Mayor and Deputy Mayor are aware of that and happy with that arrangement.
Yeah, no problem at all. It wouldn't be the first time. Councillor Trevor.
I'd like some legal clarification on whether the title mayor and deputy mayor can become directors of a corporation without naming the individual.
Can I suggest that if there's any doubt that we do include the names?
Let's do that. I was just trying to save time for a future council when... but let's leave it at that. So is there any further questions? If not, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Hanson.
Mr Mayor, thank you. You'd be disappointed if I didn't comment on regional organisations.
Absolutely would be.
I'm all in favour of the regional group reforming. I don't think the paragraph where it said CQ Rock was formed after the winding up of the former CQLGA is correct. I think it was the next term of council, which is 2016 at least, 2017. So that's an incorrect statement. We need to have more collaboration, especially, I think, in the waste area, which was lost when the CQLGA was disbanded. Where is our administrator or secretariat going to be placed? Is it in which council? And where will the official office, the official company registered office of the company be?
The current chair of sorry, Councillor Ansell, will you finish? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry. The current chair of CQ Rock is Mayor Ferrier from Banana Shire Council. The Secretariat is also Banana Shire Council. In previous years, the Secretariat has followed the chair, so the registered office will be the Banana Shire Council. Yes.
Just the last thing, sorry if I may, Mr Mayor.
Sorry, yeah.
I think
Sorry, there's two different elements. There's, and I'll probably get the wording right, but there's a physical office, which one of them is Banana Shire Council and the other is King & Co. You're right, Councillor Goodluck, so that there's no moving around of that over time. King & Co can accept that.
Yes, it has to be a registered office
yes,
of a company.
the registered office, I think, is King & Co, which is the lawyers, so it will, all correspondence will go there regardless of where the Secretariat or Chair moves to. So that'll be a consistent.
I understand. Councillor. The history suggests in this that it's all very easy to allow a political breakup of an organisation, and that happened with CQLGA. Can we, I know we can't put something in place under the Corporations Act because it's not allowed, I don't believe, but that we can prevent political interference in breaking something like this up again, because it can happen again quite easily at the whim of councillors in the region or particular councillors. I'd like to be able to say that this organisation can kick some goals and make it very, very difficult for someone to disband it. But is there anything we can put in place that could prevent the political interference in this organisation moving forward? That's a difficult one.
I would say no, but
we can't.
I think it's shown recently that all Central Queensland councils are keen to work together, and we might as well mention it. Rockhampton is now back in the room, so it's very difficult when you go to Canberra with Gladstone, Livingston, Central Highland, Banana Shire and Warrabinda and no Rockhampton. Rocky's back in the room as far as I'm aware. They may not have made the decision we're about to make today, but I can understand it's coming, and we can only work better as Central Queenslanders if we're all in the room together. So, you know, what happened to the CQ-LGA was disappointing, but it happened, and we have a rock, which actually most council groupings in Queensland have a rock. Webb Rock in Wide Bay, they have Northwest Rock. So the regional organisation of councils is probably the format that most groupings of councils use. So let's hope that it can continue to work together, but I don't think you can put anything in there to stop it from disbanding.
You can't, according to the Corporations Act, do that, but anyhow, just like to see it continue.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill, then.
Yeah, just a quick comment. It may be different when the next wave of local government amalgamations occurs sometime in the future, so it seems like it's back to the future.
What did you say that for? Thank you for that comment, Councillor Churchill. That's just sent
My
the
pleasure,
live stream
Mayor,
into meltdown. Councillor Goodluck, have you got something more positive to say?
I just think it's, CQ Rock, the work that CQ Rock's doing on the recent journey down to Brisbane to Parliament House that the Mayor and I attended with the members of CQ Rock, and I think we spoke to, I lost count of how many ministers. I think we had 2.5 hours of direct contact with ministers in the room in Parliament House, where we were talking about important projects like Inland Rail, Gladstone Port Access Road, the Yamala Enterprise Area, a whole range of different projects. And I think the fact that Rockhampton Regional Council's decided to come on board again is testament to the work that CQ Rock is doing, and we are all stronger together. So, we can't control what we can't control in the future, but I certainly think that this group will continue to do great things for our region and Central Queensland abroad.
Yeah.
Can I just ensure, sorry, Councillor Trevor, that the communication is open always to feedback to Council, because it hasn't been perfect in the past with minutes coming back from the CQ Rock. So I would hope that that is repaired and we can get those minutes regularly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Trevor.
And also, following on that, conversation, Councillor Hanson, it'd be nice if the delegates of CQ Rock could report back directly to council as to what's happening at those meetings. That would be nice. One of the questions I had, Lisa, in relation to the incorporation was having appointed the Mayor and Deputy Mayor as directors of the incorporate body, assuming that they are also delegates, and they are, and both of them become sick, whether it be COVID or otherwise, and a meeting is scheduled of which an important item is to be discussed that affects the Gladstone region. How is our voice heard if those two delegates are unable to attend the meeting?
I don't believe there's any other legal avenue to appoint any proxy, is my understanding. I'm just trying to recall, can't recall that situation arising in recent history. Doesn't say that it won't. I would suggest that perhaps a meeting might need to be postponed if that's the situation, but I'm not aware of any legal option in that situation, but I can take that on notice and get back to you.
I saw it as a major issue for us as a region when I read the material, and my view was that in the absence of the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor due to COVID, and that is a distinct possibility in the future, then we have a problem in relation to our voice being heard at the table.
Is the CEO, if we appoint the CEO as a delegate, does that mean the CEO would have a voting right as well?
As a delegate, not as a director, so yes, it's a bit complicated, but I can certainly follow up on that issue that Councillor Trevor has raised.
Thanks. I know there's been occasions where at least the Mayor or Deputy Mayor have it, but I don't think we've had it where both the Mayor and Deputy Mayor and CEO couldn't attend, so it'd be very unfortunate if that's the case. Okay, any further questions, councillors? If not, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Muscat, you're moving. Can you advise what you're moving, please?
I've moved the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor is those ones appointed to the new company limited by guarantee.
And names mentioned, as in?
And names
mentioned, included in the recommendation?
So Councillor Matt Burnett as the primary director on behalf of Gladstone Regional Council and Councillor Can Goodluck as the alternate director.
And yes, those names for point C as well. Thank you, Councillor Muscat. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Branthwaite. Any further discussion?
So,
Thank
so
you,
Mr.
Councillor.
Mayor, is that for the whole three recommendations? Okay, thank you.
Ali, is that right? Tanya, you've got that? Yes. Thank you, that's correct. I want to make sure we get this right. I'll put the motion now. All in favour? Motion is carried. Move to the next item on the agenda, which is deputations. We have no deputations. We have councillors' reports. Any council reports, please? No? Sorry, well, I would like to raise one that I left out of the Mayor's statement on current issues, and it was a very important one. I can't believe I missed it out. And it was on the back of one of the pages and I left it out, so I'm going to bring it up now. Because it would be very remiss of me not to mention that on Monday, the 24th of August, we officially opened the East Shore Stage 1B project. If you haven't been down to check it out, you need to be down there and check it out. It is fantastic. And that's a multi-million-dollar facility for our waterfront precinct here in Gladstone, and I'm very proud to see that that project has come to fruition. Stage 1 obviously opened earlier, and Stage 1B now opening on Monday the 24th, as I said. I would like to actually mention some people's names. I know when you mention names, you often forget someone, so I'll start by acknowledging the GPC leadership team. They have done a fantastic job. When you go right back to Reggie Tanner, when you look at what they've done for our community, have a look at the marina, have a look at the Spinnaker Park precinct, and have a look at East Shores precinct now. It is just fantastic. But since then, we've also had Leo Cicino, and it would be remiss of me not to mention Leo's involvement in East Shores 1 and East Shores 1B, sourcing that funding for our community as the chairman and also the CEO. Not too many people play the role of chairman and CEO of our port. And I think Leo needs to be particularly mentioned for his work in securing funding for that project. Peter O'Sullivan, of course, and Peter Caroni is the current chair, but the former mayor. And Craig Walker is the current CEO, acting CEO at the moment, so hopefully maybe before an election happens, we can have an appointment of a CEO for our port, some time for stability. As I said, the port's kicking goals in our community. The East Shores precinct is just another representation of what's going on at the port. So, but Peter Croney's chairman of the port now, but he was also the mayor of the Gladstone City Council at the time when Dave Burns, Kim Norton and myself voted in favour of the Port Access Road, and I think that needs to be mentioned because there was a lot of opposition to that access road. There was a vision at the time to build a waterfront precinct in about 2000, 2002, and this result of East Shore Stage 1 and 1B is the result of that road decision, funded by the roads of national importance, because our port is a nationally important port, taking the trucks off Flinders Parade and moving them to a designated port access road, which we're now looking for funds for Stage 3. So if they're listening in Canberra, we made the decision many years ago to take the trucks off that road and build a port road. Now we need some funds to extend that port road. But East Shores is a result of that vision from many years ago. Congratulations to Peter Croney's, Dave Burns, Kim Norton for being part of the team that made that happen. I also want to acknowledge the people who funded East Shores. I don't know where to mention, but Wicket needs a shout out. For those people who don't know what it is, it's a Wiggins Island coal terminal, and they need to be acknowledged for the significant funding they put in. There's lots of other corporate funds, some who don't want to be mentioned. There's lots of local industry who put money into this project as well, but of course the port put a lot of money in it as well, and so did the Queensland Government. So a shout out to the Queensland Government for putting their funds and to the leadership, as I said, of the port for making that happen. It is a fantastic project, and for those listening around Queensland, come and visit the Gladstone region, check out East Shores Stage 1 and Stage 1B because it is fantastic. And I'm remiss of me not to mention that in my Mayor's statement this morning, so if Carly, you can add that in, that'd be fantastic. Is there any other councillor reports, please? No, I'll move to the next item, which is urgent business. There's no urgent business, there's no notice of motion, and there's no confidential items. With that, I'll declare the meeting closed at 9:55. Very early morning today. Thank you, councillors.
Record speed.
Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more